Hello, Divine Sunshiners. This is Divine Sunshine from Divine Unisouls 11. I wanted to come to you with, I want to kind of sit back. I wanted to come to you with a divine channeled message from my guides. One of the things that I wanted to bring to you all's attention was that we're coming to a period in which we may be seeing or hearing or seeing things that are really the opposite of what is going on in the 3D, in the 5D. I've told you all many a time some of the messages and things that you may have gotten they take a while to get from whatever. So if you've seen something, it takes maybe, they said, it might take a month or 3 weeks, they said, for it to be able to get to you. That does not mean that whatever you may have heard or seen, it may not, is not going to occur. I also had watched Nika Landria, on her thing, and she was talking about the laws of physics and how they had tested with protons and human DNA, and how the DNA of humans, the strands, the protons, the things of you being having negative thinking or positive thinking had affected on our DNA strand. It would cause, like, the negative things that you would do would cause the DNA strand to collapse and become tight. And the more positive, the way you talked about it, your DNA strand became more loose and more open. What does that tell us? That tells us, as far as when we are trying to make something happen or to manifest, that are physically within us and the protons or in the atmosphere, in order to create that shift, we really have to start within. We really have to get to a point of understanding that what kind of thoughts that we put out there really create the reality that we're in. This is not something that we're talking about metaphysically, or this is something spiritually that is now being proven also scientifically, that our thoughts, our things and our feelings and how we do that affects us in so many ways, and it also affects the protons or the things that are around us in our atmosphere, for them to also be able to create those things. Because the more that you're saying about something, it goes out there into the universe and recreates that certain thing. I think about, if many of you all have maybe have seen the Teddy Riley in the Babyface thing, and I thought about the echoing during the battle and how it kept on echoing out things, and they couldn't find out what the source of it was and where it was coming from. And I was telling them that on my Facebook page that, this lesson of the mistake that was made by Teddy Riley was really a lesson for, we made, of course, they got memes, everybody got jokes about the whole different things, but it was for us to take a much deeper introspection of ourselves. Some things I had brought out on my Facebook with some of it, this understanding that we can't be overconfident on some things. We can't overlook the small details of things. We got to check and double check things before we go forth and do things in life. And this really understanding that, again, that life echoes back to us what we put out there. And that's the same thing, just like I'm saying this, I thought that was a very strong message, that we got to understand what things are we actually putting out there. So, in understanding in lieu of that, Spirit brought to me about several things. We want for the divine counterparts to act the way that we want them to act, in a certain way. We have expectations. In these expectations, we have things that are acting as blocks, because really we need to, at this time, really take close introspection as to what are we doing as far as our part. We cannot continue to keep on looking at our divine counterparts and say that it's all them, that it's not going right because it's them. We have to, as the ones who are leading or watching this, rather you are a divine masculine or a divine feminine, we have to take the lead. We have to show them. We have to be a model. We have to move in it with certainty as to knowing what is the end result we actually want to have. I've said this at the 411 event, and I'm seeing the universe is bringing it back again, that we're not really taking seriously to understand that we have to move and have our being in the way of as if everything is already done. That is a great trust that a lot of us that don't have with humans, and a lot of us surely do not have in source or the powers that be. Why? Because we cannot see it. And like they bring to me, they say, well, with the electricity, you know what's going. You can't see that it's running, but you see the end result of it, which is this light that's in this room. So those are the things that we have to kind of keep in mind when we're talking about this union thing. First, we know we got to have the union starting off with ourselves. That's where it comes from. So you start looking at yourself and seeing, where am I out of union? So this brought to me was one thing is about how do you want your counterpart to act. So yesterday I took upon myself to say that I wanted to, April Williams had been telling me several times to make space for my divine counterpart. Spirit told me and said, I heard you about physically, say, but I want you to start with the inside first. So how did I start making physical space for my divine counterpart? I started by letting my mom know exactly who my divine counterpart was. And even it didn't matter, excuse me, if something had to be released. Even though he, when she first met him, was not one of her favorite ones on the top of a list of people for me to have or date. And so, lo and behold, Spirit had her to bring up that subject, which I feel and know that I believe it was Dad that kind of pushed her. Because he was like, this has got to kind of come out. Some things that happened and transpired with the divine masculine beforehand. And I was seeing that through a conversation that I had with a DM, I could understand how that the karmic or the divine karmic could have fallen or even been attracted to the divine masculine because of the charisma, the energies that they have. In me having this conversation, and I really was not there looking for nobody else at all because my concentration is purely on the divine masculine and getting back with him. That in change, that little small reaction caused him to do something to make him more look towards and go towards the karmic, divine karmic. However, just like with me not being totally sold on it, and I was like, okay, this is nice, but I don't want that. He in turn showed me the same type of reaction back to me by in turn calling me out of the blue, and well, he usually checks on me. And so he called me right at the time that I decided to say I'm gonna have the conversation with my mom and tell her just everything about him. So some kind of way in our connection, he sensed that. And so, you know, at that moment, I was letting him know energetically that, you know what, I'm choosing you and I'm clearing this pathway for you. Because when you're ready to step forward, I don't need extra things, layers that's going to stop you, such as the connection I have with my mom and her not liking. Right now, she has to have an open mind because I've told her who he was and understanding also with her connection with Dad, and that's her twin. So now she's kind of coming from a different aspect when it comes to him. In doing that, I said, these are the same things that I wanted him to do as my counterpart. Most of the times they said when it comes to the man, you want him to profess, to protect, and provide. I went on those things I have not had seen all the way on his end being shown or demonstrated. I took it upon myself to start the energy to flowing and to start going in the direction of coming from a relationship of integrity. That is what is missing. Because then in the last reading I had did, we talked about integrity. Integrity meaning I said about my hair, like you keep on processing and processing. Like I went to the stylist and she put blonde hair on it. She said, well, we can't keep on doing that because after a while it's going to mess with the integrity of your hair, and then it'll be easily breakable, brittle, whatever. It won't be as really naturally healthy state, and you want it to stay that way. And that's the same thing when I'm talking about the process of being in this union, the process of this connection. We have to practice integrity. Integrity as to where do you want to actually be with your person. Are you all in it to win it? Or are you halfway in, halfway out? Are you in the situation and you're starting to call other people in? Well, my divine masculine showed me just from that demonstration of me just having that conversation that it's like, oh, you could do it? Well, guess what? I could do it too. Now, that's my demonstration. Or that, like I said, this is an experiential channel. And how I experience it, I show you. My divine masculine and I are that closely connected that it's just that fast that it shoots over there to his side about what's going on. That's why I have to make sure that, like Spirit keeps on telling you, your intentions. I have to make sure that my intentions are pure because I don't want it to show up on the other end as a result, and then it slap me right on back with me. And that's not the energy I wanted to send out. Thank God that I wasn't all in to say, oh, well, let's try it with this person, But my thing is that I seen the end result of me thinking just a little bit of it, and it showed and it demonstrated on his end. And he at the end reminded me that say, that was nice. I did what I did, but really my allegiance is still to you. Okay. To each his own of how you interpretate that, but that lets me know when I did, because I had already did a reading that the divine masculine was saying I just need 20 seconds. So I knew when he did that, I dropped everything that I had thought, being upset with him or what I seen and what I heard, and said, okay, let's just you and I connect, because right now everything else is an illusion. Everything is false. Everything's appearing real. Do I want this? Yes. Now, I'm not going to let you abuse me and act crazy with me, but at the same time, I'm going to let you know that, I'm with you. Right. So I'm with you. And so that's my main thing. And I want that energy to put out there with it, that I'm practicing integrity in it, which means I'm truthful. We cannot continue to lie to ourselves and say we want this union, and then everything within us is acting totally opposite. I got called on the carpet. He slapped me right back in my face, and boy, did that thing sting when I seen what I saw. And I was like, okay, this is how it feels like when I think another way about something. It comes right back to me, the results of me thinking in that way. Now, that's not everybody. Kathy D always reminds us that's my experience, but I'm just telling you. You might go out there a whole different thing. That lets me know that whatever thought I was thinking was coming from an ego. That was a spirit saying I was bringing that person for you to talk to or whatever, or connect with that person for you to have that. Because if it was, it wouldn't end up in that result of that. Maybe it would have brought the divine master more closer. But instead, it made us go like this, but a step back. And I was like, that's not the way I want you to go. I want you to come towards me as we doing this dance of the cranes, not spanning out further. And I was like, okay, that just shows me, which I already know that for me, my experience, that doesn't work with that, bringing in for me other energies. Another one Kate Moon was talking about ascension partners. We call them callous partners, ascension partners, and what's their role. And they say really right now that the role, she brought a very good point, that she's saying their role is to help you to expand, to receive love and the expansion of the heart. And that's why sometimes it's not time for them to be with the divine counterpart, because their heart has not fully expanded and be able to hold that. I'm putting in my own words. They would not be able to hold the capacity of love in which you would bring to the table. So that's just like me getting me a gallon of milk carton, and then I got a pint in there. or I'm trying to take that gallon of milk and I'm trying to pour it in this empty pint jug, and after a while it's going to overflow. It's not really built to maintain it. It's not built to house it. It doesn't have the capacity to. So you're the gallon, and right now their heart is in the capacity to accept it in the pint. That's not going to work, okay? Maybe they get with another person. That person has expanded them to be able to be a quart. Okay, you still trying to put your gallon of love and all the good stuff that you have as a twin flame into that. And it's not ready. So that's why each time when they have, so think of it this way. And I'm putting my own words other than and putting with Divine Sunshine's philosophy or terminology. That each time they're with somebody, they're helping them to be able to expand their capacity to accept love. So even when they come to you and you still at that gallon stage and they still got that pint, they come back to you after separation, say, okay, well, am I able to have the capacity? No, that kind of goes back to what Sean was talking about. I think when he's talking about that drain or that feeling when you're separation, it's like it's too much, my destiny. You start kind of really thinking about yourself in a greater capacity, and then you start saying, wait a second, I ain't ready. I'm just too small. I ain't ready. Now they bring it to be positive. They might be a gallon. What you have might be able to, but if their mindset is that it say I'm still a pint, guess what? They ain't ready to receive it. So that's why, and that don't mean, and they bring this to me, I like that. That don't mean go in, say, well, he ain't ready, let me go to his size. So it says he a pint, I'm gonna kind of put my gallon size love down to a pint size so we could be on. No, you don't do that. Okay, so you continuously keep on going the path and you allow them to go on ahead to these other people until they go on, because you know that their purpose is just to expand them. That's why they call ascension, so they can be bigger, so they can open up themselves to be able to have that capacity of gallons of love that you as a twin flame is supposed to be able to handle. That's your capacity. Right now, they're not there. And so that's why you have to let them go on ahead and allow others to go on ahead and help to expand them. And then all along, you go on ahead and you do yours and make sure that you keep on maintaining the gallon size love that you have, and you don't find yourself diminishing and bringing it down to a quart or a pint. You want to just keep going with that and say, okay, let me find other ways that I can keep on maintaining and refreshing the gallon size of love that I have. So if that's called, those things you finding it from other sources, 7 of Cups in and saying I got other options. And it's not a 7 options of saying deuces or whatever. I got other options. I got other people. It's just like, let me keep on finding ways to keep on feeling this. That's why we tell you to go get your bliss, do your things, your purpose, go spend some me time, help work on those things while you're doing that. Because even when you're looking at your counterpart, and they might be what they're going through, you might have a tendency, because of you thinking about childhood issues of abandonment, might cause for you to kind of say, okay, now somebody takes a cup out of that gallon. And it's just like, now that thought about my childhood wound, that takes a cup out of it. Now he did such and such, he did what he did on social media, there go a cup out. Okay, now my gallon is coming down. Like, what happened to my gallon? Now, eventually, I'm going to keep on letting him do what he's doing, and then my cup, and then I'm going to be right here. And then he might be, from his situation, start becoming a quart, and I done went back down to a pint. So this is why we have to allow them to go on ahead and do what they're doing. And we have to also remember to saturate our things. We don't want our DNA, the helix thing, the ladder or whatever, to start closing up, which is not helping us to be able to receive anything, to be able to manifest anything. We want to keep it open. And that's why we keep on concentrating on that gallon of love that we had to offer, and not the capacity that our divine counterparts have. Let that other person go on ahead and grow them and do whatever. If you in it, just like I do. I talk to, and I'm going to stop at 22. I look at power, and then when he started acting crazy about counterpart, I started looking at the source. Say, okay, now what happened to your promise there? Because he looked like he veering off. That ain't what you said was gonna happen. So I think there, you need to go get your boy, cause I'm still in it to win it. So now what he doing? So or either you show me what I'm doing is veering us off track, okay? But otherwise that I'm here. I've said that, and I've said my atonement and forgiveness or pono prayer about everything. I apologize. I forgive you. I thank you. I love you about that. So we can clear the airways between us two. So that is something, another way to kind of help to clear you about something maybe you have done and clear them, and it caused them to reset. But I'm telling you right now, if your divine person is awakened, watch your actions. They're dominoing like a ripple. They show me like you throw a pebble in the pond and it's rippling and it's making its way across the pond, and they are feeling it. So let's watch, people, what we are actually doing at this point, okay? Let's not just be haphazard about what we're doing or be like Teddy Riley, knowing it's showtime, I got this, and you letting the littlest of things happen to show you not prepared because you about there talk about I'm divine, looking cute, but then the baby face showed you just the simplest thing is what's going to get you over. He just had a phone and some headphones, and he's like, let's do the battle. What things could you just simply tailor yourself back down to do in this journey instead of doing all that flash and dash, green screen, dancers, all the equipment, all that stuff, and still easy peasy, lemon squeezy prevails on all of that stuff. So that's why I say you echo out there in the atmosphere, it echoes right back to you what you put out there. So watch the echoes. I had a lot of good stuff in here. Take notes, relook at it again, put it back down again. That's my channel message to you all, to the collective. All right then. As always, like my shirt say, be in union. As always, stay uplifted. I do have this shirt on Divine Unit Souls 11 if you need something that kind of remind you all the time. You going to the gym or walking around. Well, you can't go to the gym. We on isolate. Walk around the house and you want to kind of see yourself. This color is in green, and it's just like this one. Green represents the heart chakra, and to go there. So if you want that, I forgot how much it is. You got to go to DivineUnitSouls11.co. I forgot. I think the shirt's $22. I think they are. And look and see on that one. And then you can get a shirt just like this. This comes from my Be Divine Designs company. Yeah, that's right. I tried to be like Candy Brewer, so I have multiple streams of income. Yeah, multiple streams. I'm getting myself ready, so when he step on in here, we can go ahead and be that Beyonce and Jay-Z or that. I'll be handling the spiritual world, and he going to handle the 3D world. I do the 5D, he do the 3D, and we going to make it happen. All right, then, as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste, Namago. Love you.